Hi, this video is a breakdown of Amazon's business by the numbers, from my perspective as a portfolio manager and a chartered financial analyst. Right now, I think Amazon's business is best understood in a single number: $64 billion. That's the amount of cash Amazon invested in one thing during 2022. Before I tell you what that one thing is, let's put a staggering number like $64 billion into perspective. First off, 90% of the 500 companies in the S&P 500 didn't even bring in sales of $64 billion, let alone spend that much on one thing. And second, not only did Amazon spend more than any other S&P 500 company on this one thing, no one even spent half of what Amazon spent on it. The closest anyone else got was Google, which spent $31 billion on it. Okay, so what is the one thing we're talking about? It's called capital expenditures, or capex for short. The best way to think of capex is that it's cash a company invests in itself through buying things like buildings and durable equipment that it can use to generate revenues for years to come. Spending this much on capex suggests Amazon has high conviction that the best investment it can find is itself. This differentiates Amazon because large companies often allocate much more of their investment dollars outside their business through acquisitions of other businesses. Amazon acquires other businesses too, but to a much smaller degree than many of its peers. For example, in 2022, Amazon spent $6 billion to acquire MGM, and that's the largest acquisition it's made in the 6 years since its $13 billion acquisition of Whole Foods in 2017. But both of these acquisitions pale in comparison to something like Microsoft's current bid to acquire Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. So, where does Amazon find the conviction to invest $64 billion in itself? I can answer that with 3 letters: AWS, Amazon Web Services. If you're not familiar, AWS is essentially a cloud solution that allows 21st century businesses to meet demands for computing, data storage, and networking at an unimaginable scale. For example, AWS powers Netflix and allowed it to stream 6 billion hours of content in 1 month during the height of the pandemic. AWS probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Amazon, and that makes sense. It's still a small amount of Amazon's total business. AWS currently accounts for only 16% of Amazon's $514 billion of total sales. But that small slice of the company is extremely profitable. While Amazon's non-AWS businesses averaged a 1% operating margin over the past 5 years, AWS averaged 29%. To translate that into dollars and cents, if we look at the $87 billion operating profit Amazon banked over the past 5 years, 82% of it came from AWS. That tiny slice of the business most Amazon customers never think about generated the overwhelming majority of the company's profits. In my opinion, these are the numbers that allow us to understand that mind-boggling $64 billion capex number I led off the video with. Because even though AWS currently only generates 16% of Amazon's sales, it received almost half of Amazon's capex spend last year. All this suggests to me that 5 years from now, AWS will be the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the name Amazon, or at least it will be for Wall Street. And if you're not convinced that the AWS business has legs, let me cap off this breakdown with one final number: $110 billion. That's the amount of unrecognized sales Amazon is sitting on from signed contracts primarily related to AWS. That means AWS could completely halt its sales function, say no to any new customers, and Amazon could still recognize $110 billion in new sales over the years to come. If you found these numbers interesting, do me a favor, hit the like button to let me know. This is my channel's first business breakdown. I'm curious if viewers would enjoy hearing my perspective as a portfolio manager and a CFA on other businesses. In the meantime, my channel already has plenty of other videos that may interest you if you enjoyed this one. such as my breakdown of Amazon's stock as opposed to its business, or my video on 3 common myths about the S&P 500, both of which I've linked here. So, until next time, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.